What's going on today, guys? My name is Overload, and welcome to my top 10 games of the past 10 years. Now, I know this list is a little delayed, but to be honest, a lot of games came out in 10 years, and a lot of good ones. So it was really hard to make this list, and I put a lot of time and effort into this video. So if you could, I'd really appreciate a like and thumbs up and comment on this, and just your opinions. But without further ado, let's get into my list. Okay, but before we begin, let's lay down a couple ground rules. The games in these lists had to come out from January 1st, 2010 till December 31st, 2019. And I'm not going to be counting any remakes unless the original game came out sometime in that time. So, for example, I could do a comparison with Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore. Actually, that's a bad example. That game just came out. But I can't do Persona 4 Golden, as that game came out in 2012, so it would qualify, right? No, because the original Persona 4 came out in 2008. So if I want to have a remaster in here, it has to have came out the same decade. All right, so now let's get into it. Kirby's Planet Robobot was an interesting game. In fact, I was kind of in the air about this one. I wasn't sure to put this one or Return to Dreamland. But in the end, I decided I enjoyed Robobot a bit more. The gameplay was fun, especially when you jumped in the robot and you turned into Mecha Kirby. I don't think that's what it's actually called, but I'm going to call it that. The levels were very, very diverse. It was very fun, and it had a lot of difficult moments. It was everything I wanted out of a Kirby game, and actually a little bit more. It had a lot of different game modes, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, you're going to be shocked, because there is more 3DS games on the way. Actually, only one more, but still. But that was another thing that made it interesting. It was such a good game on the 3DS. I feel like handheld games don't get as much praise as they deserve sometimes. And that's kind of a shame, because there's been a lot of great handhelds throughout history, like the Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission, Minish Cap, the Oracle games. All those have been great handheld games, but no one talks about handheld games that much, and I'm curious if Planet Robobot's going to be talked about that much in the future. But it was an incredible game, in my opinion. Every game on this list is going to be incredible, in my opinion. That's why it's a top 10 out of a whole decade's worth. But I could definitely replay that game multiple times. It was so much fun. And if you haven't played Robobot, I highly recommend it. You should be able to find it at a decent price in a local game slot, but good luck. I actually had trouble finding it myself when it came out. Mario Galaxy 2 has to be one of the best games on the Nintendo Wii. It came out in 2010, towards the end of the Wii's lifespan. It had about 3 years left, but you could tell it was starting to dwindle down a little bit. Now, what was so great about Mario Galaxy 2? Well, everything was great about it. It was just more Mario Galaxy, but bigger, better, and more to it. I think my only complaint about that game was the green stars, as all you had to do was just revisit old levels, and that was it. There really wasn't much extra to it. They were just hidden and sprinkled in weird places, but they actually were hard to find at some places, and they were challenging. Plus, the final galaxy was really hard, especially the perfect run. And me, I love a challenge in my games. So that right there made Mario Galaxy 2 a great game for me. Also, what it did differently than Mario Galaxy 1 is they had more levels, but there was less to do in them. So there was much more variety and creativity that you could see in all these different galaxies. Plus, it opened up more doors for more mechanics and more like little mini games and mini quests to do. Well, not really quests, but games. And on top of that, you could ride Yoshi, which people pretty much wanted to do since Mario 64. At least you got to do it in Mario Sunshine, but you couldn't do it in Galaxy 1 now, could you? Zelda Breath of the Wild is only number 8 on your list? Of course it is. This is my list, not yours. Again, this is a list of the top 10 games of the past 10 years. So there's a lot of competition go for this. Plus, it's my personal list. I had games I liked better than this game, actually. But that's not to say it wasn't a bad game. It was a fantastic game. It was probably one of the greatest games of 2017. Zelda Breath of the Wild, at the time, was being called Cartoon Skyrim, and it kind of shows, but it's really nothing like Skyrim. It's actually made well and competently. Plus, on top of that, it's Zelda, so of course it's a lot of fun. Zelda games tend to come out really sparse, like a big main line comes out once every 5 years. I mean, the wait sucks, but the quality of the product is always fantastic, just like Zelda Breath of the Wild. I probably spent well over 100, maybe even 200 hours in this game, and I still haven't completed all the shrines. I mean, it's fun to just ride around and kill things and shoot things and just have fun. Breath of the Wild is not so much about the destination as it's about the journey, what you do, what you find. Your playthrough is probably vastly different than my playthrough, and because of that, you could probably say so many different things about the game or have a completely different opinion about the game than I can. I'm sure there's someone out there who, as soon as they booted up the game, they went straight for Hyrule Castle. God help their soul. I'm going to be honest, I had trouble debating between this one or the sequel, as in I like them both, but I really didn't want to saturate this list with Bravely Default. But in the end, I chose the first one because I actually liked it a little bit more than the second one. Bravely Default came out when the world needed a traditional RPG, really. There wasn't too many big ones, especially on the 3DS at the time. Or at least none that I knew about. If I missed one, then sucks to be me, but I just recently got into Dragon Quest, so maybe there was a Dragon Quest game out. Anyway, Bravely Default is a ton of fun. If you like traditional RPGs like Final Fantasy, then you will absolutely love Bravely Default. And since it's published by Square Enix, they can use Final Fantasy spells like Firaga or Thundaga. Is it Thundaga or Thundaga? Anyway, it has an amazing job system. So there's, I think, around 20 jobs in Bravely Default. It's been a while since I played it, but those jobs were fantastic. You could have so much variety in your party, and there was so much creativity and customization. It was basically endless. And on top of that jobs, you could basically second a job. Now, what I mean by seconding a job is, if you level up someone's job, let's say you level up someone's Black Knight to level 10, but you also had their White Mage at level 10. So you could basically have a Black Knight who can use White Mage spells, and it led for a lot of customization. On top of that, the whole Brave and defaulting system was fantastic. I typically never guard in an RPG. It's very rare for me to use the guard button. But in Bravely Default, you are rewarded for guarding. Not only do you take half damage, as most games do when you guard, but you basically get to save up that turn for another turn. And you can unleash a lot of damage in your next turn or in subsequent turns. So this took me from never guarding in an RPG to guarding frequently, then unleashing all my built-up turns in one attack. The story of Bravely Default is pretty generic at the beginning, but it does get a lot of major plot twists, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but the last act of the game is kind of slow and sluggish, so keep that in mind if you do decide to play this one. But if you think about it like this, the final boss is really just trying to make you quit the game with all the repetition. So if you quit the game, they win.
Some time has passed since I found you. Your master still lives.
Sekiro is my favorite Souls game. There, I'm just going to say it. All the Soulsborne people who watch me probably hate me now, but Sekiro is now my favorite From Software game ever, of all time. This game is fantastic. It is probably my favorite game from 2019. Now, I know Sekiro was getting a lot of hate and a lot of crap when it first came out, but honestly, I don't see the problem. It's a hard game. It's basically a Souls game. It's supposed to be hard. And I will say, come from Dark Souls, you basically have to relearn the game. Your muscle memory from Dark Souls will not help you. You're used to dodging. It's not going to work here. You have to block and parry. In fact, if you can't block and parry, you can't beat this game. There's no way to put it. But enough about the bad stuff. What about the good stuff? This game is freaking fun. It is so rewarding how you start out the game so flimsy and you fumble around so much, but then by the end of the game, you are this amazing samurai who's empowered and knows what the crap you're doing. Literally, you grow with Sekiro. If you watch in the opening cutscene, well, not the opening cutscene, the first fight, he fumbles for his sword because he hasn't fought in so long. But at the end of the game, I'm not going to spoil anything, by the way, just so you know, but at the end of the game, when he pulls out his sword, he does it so flawlessly and seamlessly. He's focused. He is an elite samurai now. And I feel like that transitions so well into the player. I'm not going to lie. I'm on my fourth playthrough now of this game. It is that good. The first time you play it, you're going to suck. Even throughout the entire game, you're going to think you're good at the end of the game. You're not. I'm on my fourth playthrough now, and I'm still finding out things. And I'm getting to the point now where I can beat a lot of the bosses without dying. Like, the more you play it, the better you get. I cannot emphasize that anymore. It is so rewarding. There is an XP system for getting skills, but that's all the XP does. You don't get any more defense. You don't get any more health. You can get more attack with it, but it's not worth it. You need to get the skill points. So honestly, all the experience you get from the game, you get in real life, and I love that about Sekiro. Just as long as you don't die in real life when you die in Sekiro. Now we're down to the big top 5. But before that, I'd like to go over a few honorable mentions really quickly that did not quite make this list, but I had definitely considered for this list. I will be very brief and short on these, so let's begin. Bloodborne was my favorite From Software game until I played Sekiro. It was a great game. I loved the aesthetics, and the boss fights were great, and it was pretty gruesome. All in all, it was a fun time. A Hat in Time did what Yooka-Laylee wasn't able to do in some people's eyes. Don't get me wrong, I loved Yooka-Laylee. It reminded me so much of Banjo-Kazooie. But then I played A Hat in Time, and it reminded me of Mario Sunshine, and I like that game better. Well, I don't like it better than Banjo-Kazooie, but I like A Hat in Time better than Yooka-Laylee. I figured I'd fix that there for you guys. Nier Automata, another fantastic game from 2017. The sheer action was amazing, plus the convoluted Square Enix plotline. But I still had a fun time with it. Didn't play the original Nier, so I was a little confused, but all the gameplay was fantastic. Last Story on the Wii. Yeah, I actually enjoyed that game. It was one of the games from, I believe it's called Project Rainfall, where they're trying to get Xenoblade, Pandora's Tower, and Last Story, and it was definitely a fantastic game. The story was pretty good, the combat was fun, and all in all, it was a very enjoyable game. If you ever find one, I recommend picking it up. It definitely deserves more praise than it gets. Which I mentioned earlier now, Yooka-Laylee. A fun game. It reminded me a lot of Banjo-Kazooie, but I think I'm bringing this on here a lot of nostalgia. I mean, I can see where it definitely needs some work, but it is still a good game. If you find it cheap somewhere, definitely pick it up and give it a try. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I know I put Mario Galaxy 2 in here as one of my top games, but Mario Odyssey was also a fantastic game, and it also came out in 2017. There was a lot of good games that came out in 2017. I'm not kidding. That was a great year. But anyway, I think the thing that kept Mario Odyssey from going on this list over Mario Galaxy 2 was that there was actually too many Power Moons. They were just littered everywhere. And I loved all the places, and the controls were fantastic, and it was a great 3D platform, but it was one of those where it felt like it was quantity over quality, and I think it suffered from that a bit. It was still a fantastic game and worth every penny if you buy it. But it's definitely something that, if you like quality over quantity, then you might want to get Mario Galaxy over it. Luminous Avenger X came out back in 2019, and it was pretty good. If you played Gunvolt, or if anyone on here knows, I like Gunvolt a lot. So this game, you basically play as Gunvolt's rival character, Ix, or Copen. And it's basically more Gunvolt, just without the Gunvolt. And by that, I mean, it's more Mega Man X, and there's nothing wrong with that. And lastly on my list, Kirby's Return to Dreamland. This came out when there was really no Kirby games, and I was freaking drowning in Air Ride because there was no other Kirby games. In fact, I actually like Air Ride better, but that's, I guess, for another list. Return to Dreamland was a fun game. It was a traditional Kirby game, but you can play with 4 people at the same time. And that made it a lot of fun, especially when you had friends over or if you get your family members to play with it. So, yeah, Kirby was 4 people. That's all it really was. But that's a lot of fun because Kirby's always a fun time. And now we're back to the top 5. Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game since Sonic 3, or Sonic Adventure 2, or if you're a weirdo like me, Sonic and the Black Knight, or Sonic Generations. Yeah, I know it's a lot of Sonic games to pick from, but I've had to be honest, the best 2D Sonic game since Sonic 3, and the best Sonic game since Sonic Generations. This game was fantastic. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that Sonic Team and Sega did not make it. Why? Because it shows they can't make a Sonic game anymore. No, I'm not kidding. They can't make a Sonic game anymore. They just need to leave it to the fans. Hire Christian Whitehead. Hire T. Lopes. And there was someone else who did. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry. I don't remember who you were. But they need to make the games from now on. At least the 2D games. Because that game was fantastic. The music was great. The level design was amazing. And the controls were just everything I remember from a Sega Genesis game of Sonic. That game was so much fun. I played it. I beat it. I did it. Guess what I did? I started up a new profile. I played it. I beat it. Guess what I did again? I started up a new I played it again, and I beat it. I beat it 4 times. In, like, quick succession. Probably less than a month. Not only that, I 100% completed it. Fantastic game. Loved it. Best Sonic game in a very, very, very long time. And it deserves all the praise it gets. It was the best Sonic game for 3 months, and then Sonic Forces came out, and then it ruined Sonic's legacy all over again. No, this isn't Smash Ultimate, and yes, I know that. Smash 4 is better than Smash Ultimate, in my opinion. This is my list. I probably played thousands of hours of this game. And I don't even think I've hit 200 hours of Smash Ultimate. Smash 4 was, in my opinion, the greatest Super Smash Bros. Game we have ever gotten. I know a lot of the Melee fans are going to hate me for that, but I'm sorry. Smash 4 is, in my opinion, the definitive version of Super Smash Bros. It had a very long build-up for the release, and I was okay with that because I knew it was going to be a fantastic game. And guess what? It was. The controls were amazing. The character selection was great. There was no screen litter. I could actually pick my character after each match. For Glory was incredible. The online worked. This was literally the greatest Smash Bros. Game ever created. And then guess what we got? Boom! DLC. We got Korn. We got Cloud. We got Bayonetta. On top of that, we got some returning characters. We got Lucas. I almost said Ike. We got Roy. Like, it was fantastic and great. And then Smash Ultimate came out. Look, I've said it before in a video, and I'm not going to reiterate it. I'm not a big fan of Smash Ultimate. There's so much screen litter. I hate how fast you get shot off the stage. I can't change my characters between matches. It's not For Glory, so I'm not always going to be on Final Destination. I'm going to be on Battlefield. I'm going to be on these weird maps that other people want to do with these weird rules, like different stocks, different times. I don't understand any of the stuff they did for Ultimate. And here's how I fell in love with this next game in its entire series. Wow, what another typical day at GameStop. Hey, what's that behind the counter? What's this weeb-looking crap? You know what? I'm probably not going to like it. It looks horrible, and I'll probably end up trading it in within 2 weeks, but it's speaking to me, so I'll take it home and try it out. Holy crap, this is a good game! I don't think a game has ever surprised me like Persona 5 has. I went into this game knowing nothing about the series. I had never played a Persona game. I had never played a Shin Megami Tensei game in my life. I knew Persona was a thing, but that's all I knew. And I literally thought I was going to be like taking that game back to GameStop for like half my money back in 2 weeks. But no, I kept it for 100 hours, 100 plus hours. I've played that game twice now. And holy crap, is it so much fun. That series is so incredible. Or at least Persona 5 and 4 is. 3's okay. And I haven't played the others yet. But, oh my gosh, if you buy this game, you are going to need time. And I mean, this game is at least 100 hours. Depends on how much side content you do, how much grinding you do, how much social interactions you do. It is so big. There is so much to do, so much to explore, so much fun to be had in this game. There's a reason this game's number 3 on my list. This is definitely a must-have for any RPG fan. If you're an RPG fan and you want to get a game within the past 10 years, this is one of them to get. And if you don't buy it, then just go eat a stack of delicious pancakes. And this is why I needed to buy a Nintendo Switch.
The fate of an Aegis never changes. And you're going to get Rex mixed up in this?
No, really, this is why I got my Nintendo Switch. I am a huge fan of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. And when I saw there was a Xenoblade 2, I was like, heck yeah! And yes, I am choosing to ignore X. I didn't really like Xenoblade X. Xenoblade 2 was a captivating game, and I spent hundreds of hours on it as well. The music was fantastic. The landscapes were beautiful. The character development was fantastic. There was so many things to do in this game. And there were so many different characters to learn about and play as. And on top of that, you can get new party members with the loot box system. Like, okay, it has this weird system where you get new party members / blades with this loot box system. But it's not an actual loot box system. You don't pay money. You just get stuff in the game and you open them and you pray to the Lord that you get your freaking Cosmos! The drop rate's pretty low for Cosmos, just so you know. But in all seriousness, this game is definitely incredible and is a must-have for any Switch owner. Just, if I was to ask for one improvement, please take away the loot box system. So now you're all probably thinking, what is my number 1 game of the past 10 years? There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs in gaming, but I think all of us, or at least myself, can personally say that old school RuneScape is the greatest game of the past 10 years. It was made in 2013 by Jagex because they ruined RuneScape by making RuneScape 3. Okay, I'm just kidding with you. This is a good game, and I play RuneScape a lot, but this is definitely not my number 1 game. My real number 1 game is Xenoblade Chronicles is one of my favorite video games of all time. There is so much wonder and amazement in this game. The landscapes are beautiful, even more beautiful than stuff we have nowadays. I mean, we have a lot of beautiful games nowadays, but this is on the Wii. I mean, just look up Satoral Marsh at night. That place is amazing. If you have the game, go through there at night if you haven't already. They are so diverse and amazing. You're just on this one creature for the entirety of the game. And the landscapes are just so diverse for this one creature. You start off on its knee. I think it was its knee. And it's just a typical forest area town. Then you go through this cave. Then you're up on, like, its shin. And it's like this big land plateau and mountains and all this stuff. All these creatures. All these weird JRPG creatures. It's fantastic. Then you go up a little higher and boom, it's a marsh. And the marsh is just, it's like a marsh out of Shrek. But then at night, it turns into this freaking enchanted forest amazement. Then you go up higher and boom, you're in this jungle forest with all these little creatures that follow you around. And then you go up a little higher, boom, you're in this high-tech city with all these bird people and this ginormous ocean, like on the chest of this monster. You go up a little higher, and now you're into freaking snowlands. There's snow everywhere, snow-capped mountains, glaciers. It's fantastic, and the music is top-notch in this game. One of the greatest soundtracks ever. Did I also mention this is a Wii game? This comes from the Wii. And on top of that, the characters are fantastic. Every single character gets a fantastic arc in character development. And this game would not be any better with any less characters, any more characters. It is the perfect amount of characters for, in my opinion, one of the most perfect games ever created. The combat is so fluid. There's nothing wrong with it. And that's what's amazing about it to me. I cannot find any flaws with this. It's fun. It's fast. It keeps you entranced. I literally spent hours just running around, finding different monsters, just exploring the world, seeing what I could find, where I could find it. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, quality over quantity. I liked Xenoblade 2 a lot. It was number 2 on my list, but there were so many different titans, and I feel like the quality kind of hurt there because there were so many. They focused on quantity over quality while they just made this one big titan, and it just had all these different land masses and all these different monsters on it to fight and explore. Not to mention, it has one of the best stories in video games. And on top of that, again, it was for the Wii. That's what got me the most when I played it back in the day. This game was on the Wii, and it was fantastic. I mean, just look at the opening I just showed you when I first started showing you this. I've literally just sat down, like, just on my phone or talking to a friend with just that playing in the background. I can literally watch that for hours. In fact, I've been trying to find a way to get an animated, like, background for my computer of just that. That's how much I like this game. That opening is just so amazing. You see that, and you know you are in for a good time. I can't stress how much I like this game. If you ever find it for a good price or can ever get it, get it. In fact, they're coming out with a remake of it very soon for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know how that version is going to be because remakes are either great or they ruin the old experience and they're not that great. But I'm hoping it's going to be great. I'm definitely going to be getting it day one. I'll probably even review it myself, to be honest. So if you haven't picked it up yet, either pick it up now or wait and get it then. Either way, you will not be disappointed. But you probably are disappointed in me because my list is so weird and controversial. But anyway, that's the glory about it. This is my list. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you didn't like the video, please give it a dislike. And if you want to talk about your list, let me know down below. I'd love to see your list. I like opinions, different people's thoughts on stuff. But anyway, that's it for me now, guys. I got some Persona to play and a Xenoblade to wait to come out for. Till next time, bye.